Welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy VIII. In the last episode, oh shit really hit the fan. We planned to assassinate the Sorceress, but it didn't work. She managed to kick the crap out of us. And we lost. Well, here we are at the start of Disc 2, and well, we had another flashback. We're back with Laguna. Yeah, don't scare the kid. Damn kids running around, causing trouble, hanging around on my lawn. Whoa, bullet holes in the wall. Well, maybe this time. Okay, looks like Laguna has made a bit of a life for himself since the last time we'd seen him back on the Cedra continent. And, well, he settled in this little town here. And there's this little girl alone there who's referring to him as Uncle Laguna now. She's not actually his niece, but she's just calling him Uncle. Where the hell are we? Must be really dangerous if he's friggin' watching the kid like that. Wobble. Oh, look who it is. Okay, let's get a bit of an update. Ah! This is Squall being confused. When they say fairies, what they're talking about is when Squall and his friends ended up in these guys' heads, it kind of affected them a little bit. They weren't just... Squall and such doesn't take active control over them, but it does affect them a little bit, and they think it's these fairies buzzing around in their heads. Okay, we're gonna head out, and his work is running around town killing monsters, because, well, there are a bunch of them wandering around town. And this is Rain's house, so... Okay, so the idea of what's happened here was after the Central Continent incidents, where they got injured in their fight against Esther's soldiers, they fell into the water, and, well, they all got separated. They didn't all end up in the same place. Laguna ended up here, in this town, and ended up being nursed back to health by this Rain woman. Now, right before everything went to hell, right before he arrived, things changed in this town. What had happened was, this is still during the Sorceress War between the Albata and Esther, and what happened was, they had come to this town, the Esther soldiers, and they attacked, and they killed Elone's parents, and that's where all these bullet holes are about. They were shot to death. And Laguna has taken to living in their home, their old home, whereas Rain has gone to live with her aunt. I think she's her aunt, anyway. Across, next door. Now, since it's in the middle of the war, this town is being protected by these... soldiers, but what the soldiers are doing is there to protect them from the Estar army, not from the monsters who seem to have invaded this area. And the reason why the monsters are here, I think the storyline explanation was that a bunch of these people were... Oh, okay, he doesn't have any equipment. A bunch of these people were drafted in the army, so all of the men of fighting age drafted, and there's no one left to defend the town from the monsters. So the soldiers don't want to put any effort into that, and nobody who lives there is capable of fighting them, so Laguna has gone and basically taken up the mantle. Level 14, or 13. Who is level 13? This may... I'm not sure who he is taking the job of right now. Who is in his head. But I'm just going to slap a couple of guardian forces on there. Decent outlier. This is probably Irving. Even though I would have expected him to come into this with some better magic, better junction setup, you know. Irving is in fact one of the people who ends up in other people's heads. The only person in the party, the only person in your group that never manages to would be Renoa for whatever reason. Okay, there we go. Re-equip. Now what he's just doing is running from one end of the town to the other, killing all the monsters that... he happens to run across. Okay, it looks like the battle happened, when they Estar soldiers came was 2 years ago. I'm putting on encounters half because I don't really want to do any of the fighting. Winhill, that's the name of this town. What? No. And you'll just notice that the monsters that we're going to be facing in this area are pretty much the same monsters that we would have encountered everywhere else. Jeez. And despite the fact that we're not really playing as our normal characters here, I'm going to continue to use my strategy of not trying to gain any experience points out of this. Because, well, I mean, any experience carried over by Laguna and his group will find their way to Squall and his... Oh, well, I guess that one can be helped. Laguna's personality has taken a little bit of a turn towards the more mature. He's still kind of goofy, but he's not the carefree kind of dumbass that he was earlier. You know, charging headfirst into trouble, doing stupid, dangerous things, and all of that. So you could say his experiences, I don't know if it was his experiences over in the Central Continent, but I kind of doubt it. I think it had more to do with what happened to him since he arrived in Winhill, and the feeling that there are actually people out there that depend on him for protection, or at least that's the way he sees it. But this is just some typical Galbata village. So it's really, he's away from the war, and he left the army. So he's not fighting the war anymore, but I guess it's really... No, this recovered that quickly. Wow. I think he feels like he's more useful doing this than he was fighting in the war, even though he never liked fighting to begin with. Yeah, I don't think he wants to do that. Now, it's hinted that there's this sort of relationship between Laguna and Rain, and that's one of the developments that happened since he arrived there, and he has more or less forgotten about Julia, who he had fallen in love with before, and she had fallen in love with him, and the song that they were talking about, that Eyes on Me, was actually written about him. And as was noticed in the conversation earlier, Julia had gone and married a general in the army, General Caraway. Now, who could that possibly be? That was Renoa's father, so it's reasonable for us to conclude, what's with all these wrecked carriages? It's reasonable for us to conclude that, oh, you know what? I went around for no reason. It's reasonable for us to conclude that Julia is Renoa's mother. And she's also dead, because Renoa's mother is dead. So Julia, whenever she died, I don't know if she's dead yet at this point in the past, but Julia does die. And I don't know if Laguna ever finds out about that, but she's dead. Although he seems to have moved on, even if she never did. Is this a hotel? No need to do anything here, I guess. Take a look around anyway. Now this is the beginning of the second disc. And hey, look, there's a map of the Earth. That's weird. Why do they have a map of Earth if this is clearly not Earth? That's funny. I never realized that was there. Now, this is the beginning of the second disc of the game, and the way the discs are split up and involving game content is much more evenly distributed and makes a lot more sense than it did in Final Fantasy VII. Let's go talk to this one guy real quick before heading back. These people don't like him. Dick. Okay. Yeah, it's much more evenly distributed than it was in the previous game. Because, I mean, in Final Fantasy VII, by the time you reach the end of the first disc, you can basically consider the game to be half over. Considering the 3 discs, it's a little bit of an unusual distribution there. And kind of the reason why it ended up that way is because of the, I guess I'd say it's probably due to inexperience in the developers of working with that kind of technology and that kind of design and all that kind of stuff. So almost the entire game was located on each disc, and really the movie, the FMVs were what was different between the different discs. And this game, I think, is much better designed. I don't know if all of the game data is located on each disc, but because there are a lot more but there are a lot more videos in this than there are in 7, and a lot of the backgrounds involve a lot of motion, so that uses up a lot of extra disk space there. Cross is talking about how Laguna always wanted to be a world-traveling journalist, and he brings up this Timber Maniac's job, which you would have to think is what he probably always wanted, because, I mean, he wanted to be a journalist, he never wanted to do any fighting. It's a chance for him to go and do that. And as enthusiastic as he may seem of the idea, you have to suspect that maybe he is, doesn't want to leave this area. Well, screw this, I'm just going to get out of here. I don't want to kill that monster. I get my AP, but I need any experience. Awesome. The dude seems to have put down some roots. Yeah, sure. Hey, the draw point's recharged. I'll get it later. Yeah, what monster? I don't see any monster. Where are these people? If they can't see you standing there, they must be idiots. Yeah, you're full of it. Or is that what they're actually called? Okay, head over to the other, back over to the other house, and son of a bitch. You should spackle those over or something. Rest. There's only one bed, but rest. The two of you. There's only one bed. I don't like where this is going. Okay, he has changed, and we've reached the end of this, so